Stage 5, evaluating a knowledge building environment. This one is a little bit tricky, but it is one that is full of promise. The idea of knowledge building can be somewhat resistant to pencil and paper testing because the kids are then in charge of their own learning, and where it is that they want to take their knowledge is kind of up to them within reason. I understand that the students have a curriculum to follow, and as a teacher your job is to make sure that they are following set parts of that curriculum, so they're getting at that knowledge that you want them to know about. But there's also the part that you want them to be able to investigate, to be able to be curious about areas that might go beyond the curriculum.
If I asked you to go about assessing your understanding, what sort of product or artifact would you choose to produce? Like, aside from me giving you a bunch of questions and you writing the answer, do you think there's another way that you'd be able to say, hey, Wagner, I really learned something neat here? How would you go about doing that?
I think that it'd be nice to do almost a presentation where we could talk about one specific topic, maybe one that we had a lot of knowledge from, that basically uses a bunch of our topics, so it goes over, it's like one idea, but how it connects to all the rest of our ideas, and we basically just present that to someone else, sort of to teach them.
Can you imagine that, okay, you go to the doctor and say, doctor, I'm not feeling well, and you write down a bunch of questions and you give that paper, all those questions to the doctor to answer, and he writes them out and gives them back to you. How unnatural is that? Usually you ask the doctor, so doctor, what do you think's wrong with me? Well, I think this is that. They'd be able to actually explain it to you, right? That's the way the real world works. So I just like what you guys are saying about presenting, because I think it's kind of an important thing that you do out in the real world. You don't do a lot of pencil and paper tests anymore out in the real world. So.
And we know that we learned something if we can teach someone else.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a beautiful way of putting it. Yeah.
I kind of find that it's almost got the backwards feel to the traditional, you be up at the board teaching something to us, and then at the end of the unit we put it on paper in the form of a test, whereas this, we're putting it in writing, and then at the end it almost seems natural to be presenting, so it's like a backward system.
So it just continues it as we teach you, that sort of thing.
Yeah. We're directing our own learning. Like, it's self-directed. You're not sitting here, okay, now look at this, now look at this. You just kind of let us do what we want. We're learning what we want. We're focusing on things that we want.
Knowledge building is a very, very natural process. It's something that is done out in the real world over and over and over again through collaboration, researching on an idea, collaborating again, and continually improving the knowledge. It is just the natural way that the world works outside of the classroom. So if it's good enough for the world outside of the classroom, it should be good enough for the world inside the classroom, because that is the kind of work that they're going to be doing when they get out into the real world. When I go about evaluating it, I use a little bit of the curriculum document if I can, but as often happens, the kids go beyond the curriculum document. So you're going to have to use a little bit of your professional judgment to be able to judge how deeply the kids went and how much it is of that knowledge is valuable to the understanding of the topic that they're working in.